Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out Malicious Compliance. Story 1. Well, tell you what needs doing. I transferred into my software services role internally during the most busy time the department has ever had, not helped by the fact that other dips keep heaping ooze jobs on us. So I just did whatever easy jobs I could get my hands on and tried to stay up to speed with the, mostly outdated, documentation, as there was no chance of any kind of training. Some things are crippling necessities to me. For instance, I produce my own documentation to blindly follow, as some processes don't make any sense until you know enough about the system. I have and the less I've got to keep track of the better, so recurring tasks get tickets that automatically open and close that only need the time tracking filled out. Little things. Eventually I bring up some handy stuff I've produced in case anyone wants to use it and get some berating along the lines of just focus on your normal tasks and we'll assign you any additional optimization projects. Fair enough, I'm the newbie. MC, for the next few months I'm still getting nothing but normal tickets. DEP's getting flooded with work and I'm the only one clocking out on time as I only get tickets I have the knowledge for, or can learn before going over SLAs, which is substantially less than my senior colleagues who still don't have time to train me. Fallout, happy end, / middle. I've started getting little projects to make improvements, like updating documentation. We're still getting flooded, but nailing small holes in the boat shut feels a hell of a lot better than scooping out water with a spoon. Edit, TL/DR newbie. The department has no time to train. Trying to lighten the load of the department on an operational level, lets the department drown in work that won't be assigned to him after being told to stay in his lane. They finally realize it's a waste of a resource and start assigning tasks to improve things on an operational level. Story 2. I was just making a joke, he says. Back in the day I worked for a restaurant chain that we all know and love, let's call and Win Beaks. So, I'm working the day shift behind the bar of said restaurant, when a guest I don't recognize sits at the far north end of my bar. Since he's not a regular, 65/35% chance of being a regular, I greeted him with our usual key phrase that management has burned into our brains. Smile. Eye contact. Welcome. Would you like one of our house beers, the dirty blonde, white blonde ale, or a naughty brunette, nut brown ale? Unfamiliar guest smiles and wags his fingers flirtatiously. No, but I would love a dirty Miller Lite. Q. Malicious Compliance. Coming right up. I'm here in Texas, and I've found a lot of drink recipes differ from city to city, and so much more state to state, but we all know that dirty equals olive juice. I grabbed his frozen mug, popped a healthy dose of olive juice from my poor end store, poured his precious Miller, and dropped the drink off. I then took my sweet time walking up the bar, starting his tab, checking the opposite side of the bar, horseshoe shape, seating 16 on each side, and finally returning to him as he's desperately flagging me down. I'm sorry, honey, but this beer tastes salty. Smile. Eye contact. That's because you asked for a dirty Miller Lite. Dirty means olive juice. I thought it was weird, but I've heard weirder, not a lie. People ask for the strangest things, myself included. I was just making a joke, he sputtered. Me, too. I said brightly. I brought him a new Miller and went about business as usual. Story 3. Driving miles to save pennies. Door-to-door salesman for a traditional northern-based company in England. Used to love the job and I was good at it, but supervision only cared about money and nothing else. I used to come into work an hour early to fill my van with stock. I know what you're all going to say, I shouldn't work for free and such. However, doing this allowed me to make a lot more money through commission, and every job I've ever had I like to go in early and have a cup of tea and a bit of a laugh with colleagues before starting, but also my customers in a way made it impossible not to. I had to try catch some of them before they left the house for work, or if they were a big spender that could amount to 10% of a day's sales, then I would have to prioritize them to make sure I caught them. Following this I would head out and work non-stop till I had visited every customer, Once done I would have a break, and depending how much time I had spare I would wait until 1630 and do the whole route again for anyone I had missed or that wasn't in. It would take about 45 to 60 minutes to drive to my first door of the day. It was a non-stop job, but like I say, I enjoyed it, was good at it, and further to this the money was pretty good. Due to working with a van and spending a large amount of the day driving, I would probably fill the van every 3 to 4 days with diesel. I'd find a spare 5 minutes during my route, quickly fill up and grab a cheeky Mars bar, then get back to sell. I'd also like to add, when I initially took over the van and route I had, it was a 75,000 van, as in sales, not wages, and over 3 years I took it to around 130,000, so I was making the company a lot of money through my hard work. One day as I was filling my van early in the morning and I was approached by an assistant manager, Nigel. He said to me, "It's been flagged by head office that you are filling the van at petrol stations. Can you start filling up at supermarkets because they're cheaper?" And I replied honestly, "I can't. My area doesn't have any supermarkets with petrol stations. I live and work in Old Pit Villages area." Nigel says, "Well, there is Asda around the corner." Nigel was referring to the supermarket which was 5 minutes from the depot. I said some sort of platitude to fob him off because I had work to do and carried on with my day. Continued working as normal for the next couple of weeks and filling up at normal petrol stations and having cheeky Mars bars. Came into work one day, and there I'd a briefing in the morning, email from head office stating that it is policy that supermarkets must be used for petrol unless an emergency, then you can use a petrol station but can only put in 10. I asked Nigel if that email was due to me and he said yes, "You're going to have to go to Asda in the morning." And I replied, "If I fill up in the morning before work I'm going to have to leave my house 30 minutes early and I already come in an hour early so I can fill my van." And Nigel responds, "Well, go, once you've filled your van, go on the way to your route." And I point out honestly, if I do that I'll be late for my customers, could ruin the flow of the whole route. This may sound silly, but I would knock on 130 to 110 people per day and would usually get there the same time each visit, and some would wait for me before going out. To be honest, Nigel is a great guy and one of the good ones, and he apologizes and says sorry, but it's policy now and I'm going to have to follow the rule. So I follow the rule, but bollocks to me losing money due to this new rule. I drive 45 minutes to my route work all day, then when I finish my route, I drive 45 minutes back to the depot and the supermarket, and then after filling up the van and saving about 1.30 I get a cheeky Twix for a change, then drive 45 minutes back to my route. Hour and a half driving to save 1.30. Told Nigel what I was doing and he just did a nervous laugh, shrugged and walked away. Think he's pretending I didn't tell him. I haven't had any more complaints. Wrote on mobile, so sorry for if it reads badly. Story 4. Just get one donut, they said we only need one, didn't specify the size. It's a small one, but it's my birthday and this was too funny not to share. So I wake up, make a hot pocket, and I'm told I wasn't meant to eat breakfast. Confused, I put it in the fridge, didn't want to waste it. After which I get ready for the day, then my stepdad walks into the apartment with a donut box. I take it, saying thanks obviously, and when I open it, giant donut. It takes up the entire box. Baffled, I show my mom and she has this look of confusion, then realization as she looks at my stepdad and says I said only one, and to which my stepdad replies didn't specify the size. Thank you stepdad for giant donut. Story 5. 3 large ice waters please. I've been working at a local Safeway store for a little over 8 months. Inside the Safeway we have a Starbucks as soon as you walk in. I walk about 40 minutes to said Safeway every morning and every night. After my first week I started to get an ice water once a day from the Starbucks since no water was provided in the employee break room. Most of the workers at the Starbucks are kind and don't mind, others are clearly annoyed so much that they complain to the manager, causing her to print out a new policy effective immediately. When on the clock, workers must pay 25 cents when requesting a water of any size at Starbucks. This is to cover the cost of the cup, not for the water. A water bottle may be filled free of charge. I asked if it was alright if we brought our water bottles to fill up because I wanted to confirm. It was confirmed that any water bottle would do. So I bought a new water bottle and started having that filled. Everything was going well after 2 months until one annoyed barista decided no more. She told me not to fill up my water bottle here anymore. I was confused and asked what's the problem. She said that everyone here is annoyed having to fill up your water every day and that you never buy anything. I was stunned and said alright then, sorry to bother and have a nice day. Cue malicious compliance, don't want to fill up my water hey? Alright then, so now every time before I clock in I ask for 3 large ice waters, I don't care if they have a line or not. They can't refuse me, they can't charge me because I'm off the clock and I'm a customer who is rather thirsty. I do this 3 times a day and share the waters with some of my fellow co-workers. It's been months now and they've asked me to stop. But I won't. I made sure previously to wait until your line wasn't busy, that I did it once a day, that I asked how your day was. I just wanted some water Linda while I'm sweating a busting my ass. I'm sorry if I disturbed your samples of drinks you have numerous times a day. Story 6. You want to be in control fine. Years ago, I worked for a public institution, where the supervisor was a total control freak. She was hardly able to delegate the most mundane tasks, and even when she did, she would monitor what her N2 was doing and give him hell if he dared to call a shot himself. Now, in my field, by law everybody needs to follow 48 hours of mandatory continued training per 3-year span. The state offers a wide selection of different courses you are free to pick from. If you want/need to get your training from any other agency and/or private company, you need a permission from your supervisor. Now my former supervisor thought that some of these trainings were frivolous, like yoga classes, meant to prevent burnout, or first aid classes, which according to her, you should/could do on your own time, so she decided that all training needed to be green-lighted by herself, which was obviously against the law. Most colleagues decided to ignore that order, since it was illegal, and we can't be written up or otherwise disciplined for not following an illegal order. I on the other hand thought it would be more fun to comply. So I designed a permission form, where I could copy-paste all information from the online curriculum within seconds and checked the training offer. I picked quite a number of 2 hours trainings and introduced a form for each one of them, plus I sent my form out to all the colleagues, around 175 of them, to make asking for permission easier for them. Quite many picked up on the idea and introduced my form for their trainings as well, so that the control freak supervisor was swamped with hundreds of forms within a single week. We were quite quickly back to being allowed to follow any of the state's trainings freely. Equals 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 disclaimer, not a native speaker. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.